Hey, it's Steady Steve. Please like and subscribe. Please click on the Deck Heroes icon. Click on subscribe. It's 100% free. Blood in, blood out. And also click on notifications just so that you don't miss any amazing content. Okay, look to the upper middle part of the screen. I've literally only got as far as about 47, 48 seconds into this video. It's a first watching. Um, I saw the title and I thought, okay, well, I've got to do a review on this. You know what I mean? I think my husband is bisexual. Damn, what shall I do? Let's find out.
I have a tendency to ignore red flags and focus on people's potential. So I have committed to following your advice. Whatever you tell me on the show, like you could tell me to do the chicken dance on the top of my car at ATP, and I'm gonna do it.
Okay, you need to know 100% that's going to be in the things I tell you to do.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start practicing.
All right. Hey,
but
hold
part of
on.
my question.
Do me a favor before you do the question. Will you do me a huge favor?
Uh-huh.
I want you to take as deep a breath as humanly possible. Take it and hold it, okay? Ready? 1, 2, take it. Hold it. 1, 2, and then let it out. All right, here's my promise with you, okay? I am hearing you that you're nervous to talk about what you're about to talk about, and here's my promise. My promise is whatever you say, I'm gonna be with you, okay?
Okay.
It's 100% my promise.
It's heavy.
No weird, no
My
judgment.
heart pounding.
I got it. And I know that it's heavy, but I want you to know that you're not going to endure this heaviness by yourself. Cool?
Okay. Yes. Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so go for it. I'm here.
Okay. So the heart of my question is, how do I help my husband to feel less shame about his sexuality? And I say that because, like, for years, my closest friends have all asked me, like, hey, is he, like, bisexual? Is he, questioning things? And I never really gave it much thought. But, we've been married for, 7 years now. And over the last few years, it's just kind of, like, reared its head a little bit more and come to maybe be, like, it could be a real issue. Without getting too graphic, like, he has fetishes that I'm uncomfortable with, things that he enjoys and wants to do that I don't. And when we fight or we're emotionally distant, which does happen a lot, he buys toys to satisfy his own needs, and then he hides it from me. And when I inevitably find out, he has a lot of shame and embarrassment. And he ends up turning that around onto me and getting mad at me and saying it's my fault that he does it, or that he has to hide it, or that I caused it in the first place. We were fighting and he had to do it. And I think that really the heart of the issue and a lot of why we fight a lot is that I think he does struggle with his own sexuality, but I think he feels shame in talking about it. And my question is, how do I help him see that I'm a safe space to talk about that?
Before we go into it, right, I need to say in advance, I'm an old school guy. Okay, I'm an old school guy. If I'm not married, right? If I was married to somebody, it's going to be a woman, and I want her to be very sure that she's a woman. I don't want to go down this grey area. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. I don't apologise for it, and I'm not going to be swayed. Okay, that's it. So, Anyway, just as a quick summary, she says she has a tendency to ignore red flags. There's something about his sexuality which got revealed over the last few years. And when they kind of fight, I think they mean like kind of words. He buys toys. Damn. I think I know what kind of toy. It's got to be some kind of phallus type toys, right? Anyway, let's go.
And that doesn't change that I love him.
Sure. Well, thank you for you laid that out really beautifully, so thank you for that. Can I ask some probing questions?
Absolutely.
Okay. Question number 1 is, besides particular sex acts that he enjoys that you're not into, and besides his going to get sex toys and to assumedly masturbate himself, right? Take care of himself in any number of ways. Mm-hmm. That's a very limited scope for why you would think, I think my husband's gay, I think my husband's bisexual, or I think my husband's not attracted to me. Whatever's there, that sense of shame. Paint me a fuller picture here.
He does have a really deep appreciation of, like, the human body, I guess you could say, like all human bodies. And, like, he comments in a different way than I hear most men comment when he sees a guy who's really ripped, or, he'll point out attractive men probably more often than attractive women. He, like, makes, like, certain friends on social media that he just really keeps track of that are also, like, or they are gay, and he seems to be drawn to them and really seek their, like, when they tell him he's attractive, that's, like, a really big sense of pride for him, and, like, he goes kind of looking for that from that population, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just seeking affirmation, absolutely. So, and by the way, everybody listening to the show seeks affirmation from somewhere or from multiple places, right?
Yeah.
No, we don't. What are you talking about, my friend? We're talking about the average. Well, she's absolutely right. Listen, there's the norm, and there's a deviation from the norm, and the deviations from the norm, they draw attention, and they draw people maybe to phone into a phone show, of course. So listen, let's not pretend that this is in any way regular. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not going too deep. I'm just saying there's the everyday, and then there's this. Okay, so it's not the everyday in the conventional sense. It's yeah, you know what I mean. I'm not getting drawn into this thing now. If he's looking for, if he points out attractive men and he seems to be drawn to that gay community and he gets some kind of validation from it, you know what I mean, some kind of warm. That's not normal. That's not regular for most straight men. So there's a reason. I was thinking about whether she knows something about him having some kind of images of men. That would be like case closed for me. I'm going to be honest with you. She hasn't said that. And he asked her for an example. This is the first example that she gave, so I can only assume it's the best example. So this whole thing might just be a little bit less clear cut than what it could be. Yeah, in itself, seeking value. No, I was going to backtrack a little bit. No, it's just not. It's not regular. It's irregular enough from a straight man. Obviously, it's absolutely fine to be bisexual. That's not what I'm saying. I'm coming from the standpoint as a straight man. That's all I'm saying. We're questioning about whether this guy is straight or whether he's bi. He's married this woman and can conventionally be thinking that means that he's straight. And she is obviously of the belief that he was straight. And now she's beginning to question it and thinking about what she should do about it. Now that, you know, she's fully aware and she's owning it basically as a reality. Let's go.
You have, I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong, you have shame that somehow you're an unsafe place for the man that you love to land. True or false?
True.
How long has that been going on? And basically the bigger question is, how long has he been keeping secrets from you that you are, unknowing, he doesn't know this, but you're carrying the weight of those secrets too? How long has that been happening? Your whole marriage? Or forever?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And like I said, I'm really good at ignoring red flags and seeing potential. So in the beginning, when it would happen, I was just like, well, he just needs to know that I love and support him, and I just need to love him through this, and then he'll open up and trust me with the truth. And
at the beginning. So when she said at the beginning, I'm going to go back a little bit, 30 seconds, yeah, so we'll definitely catch it again. When she said at the beginning, I thought at the beginning of their kind of relationship, but now I'm thinking she means at the beginning when she first noticed that he may well be bisexual, and she, as I said, that she wants to, like what John said, allow him to land in some sense and just kind of be comfortable with it. And I don't know, husband, right? So for him to be looking to go outside of the boundaries of their marriage, understanding or not, that's not what a marriage is, right? Marriage is two people in unity. It's not. Unless, and it doesn't sound like she's happy with the 3-way thing or 4-way thing and the 5-way thing, let alone before we think about anything else. Anyways, let's see what she says again. I want to be a little bit more kind of, we'll listen to it a little bit more carefully.
The man that you love to land. True or false?
true.
How long has that been going on? And basically the bigger question is, how long has he been keeping secrets from you that you are, unknowing, he doesn't know this, but you're carrying the weight of those secrets too? How long has that been happening? Your whole marriage? Or forever?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And like I said, I'm really good at ignoring red flags and seeing potential. So in the beginning, when it would happen, I was just like, well, he just needs to know that I love and support him, and I just need to love him through this.
I'm really good at ignoring red flags and seeing potential. What's the potential? What's the potential? If there's no. You got to understand what a red flag is. If there's a red flag, that means there is no potential. Okay, you know what I mean? That's what a red flag is. Surely, right? I don't know what she... Listen, if you remove the words red flag, you could say, yeah, I'm really good at seeing potential. That's fair enough. You know, that's fair enough. But with the red flag in there, that means no. Anyway, let's go.
And then he'll open up and trust me with the truth. And then it was just like he kept lying about things. And it's not just sex things that he would lie about. There's other things that he like parts of his identity he tries to keep hidden from me. And so I've always really from the beginning just been like, well, if I just keep trying, then he'll be open with me. And that hasn't worked out great.
So one of the things that gets lost in the gender conversation, by the way, I've had this conversation, I can't even count. So I want you to know you're not alone, okay? That gets lost in the gender conversation is, it's a very delicate thing because there's a ton of shame and there's also a ton of, if the wrong person finds out, you are kicked out of your home, you're kicked out of your religious group, you're kicked out of your school. I mean, there's a true penalty to be paid, right?
Right.
And often kids that recognize they are different, especially when it comes to who they're attracted to when they're young, they learn really quick to shut up about that. And they wrestle with that. And they have been mining themselves and their community and what's okay and who loves me and who's safe for years, right? And so it's easy for you to go, all of this rests on me. And
Yeah. In the old days, people couldn't be themselves, and that may well be the foundations of why somebody who's not straight is in a straight relationship, because she's obviously unawares, but she's also entitled to truth. She's not him, and she's not living his life. You know what I mean? So that there's a level of understanding, but it doesn't take away from the lies, which is a portrayal which has led her across that what's it called now? Across that bridal threshold, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called now. You know, the lies have led her to the altar and actually into an actual marriage contract. And that's huge in terms of life journey and milestones and implications. So even given everything in his journey, he is fundamentally lied. I don't want to say lied. Is it lied? Well, definitely lied. But he's kind of had a massive negative impact on this lady's life. And now she's having to kind of contemplate the uncontemplatable. That the man that she's with is not actually, at best, mixed in terms of his attraction to her. And there's definite risks within the community that he is attracted to. You know what I mean? Which she should actually be aware of and may well have to consider.
Also going to challenge the other side of the equation. He got married to you. He looked you in the eye and said, you and I are ride or die till the end of time. And then maybe even beyond that, if you believe in the right romance novel, right? Like, we're in this thing. And so there is a price to be paid on both sides. One, you better not say anything. And I attached myself to somebody that I said I was going to be connected to intimately, not just sexually, but spiritually, right? They're going to know me, I'm going to know them, because we're one forever. And so you carry the burden too.
And we have been separated.
Okay.
We actually just got back together, and a big part of it was because of the hiding and the lies. But my bigger problem with the hiding and lies is that he makes it sound like it's my fault. He turns it around and blames me. So then I feel like I'm going crazy. I question reality.
Okay, so they did separate. Listen. At the end of the day, listen. What you tolerate, you can't complain about. So that's what I'm going to say on that issue, and I'm just a bit surprised. But mainly because, listen, if it's not an issue for her, that's absolutely fine. 100%. It's 100%. And it would be an issue for me. That's what I'm saying. And for most straight men, they don't, you know what I mean? That's it. They just want to be straight all the way down the line with no grey area. And that's what I understand. But, each to their own. Let's go back a little bit. I don't want to miss what you were saying.
And a big part of it was because of the hiding and the lies. But my bigger problem with the hiding and lies is that he makes it sound like it's my fault. He turns it around and blames me. So then I feel like I'm going crazy. I question reality. Like,
yes, it's gaslighting.
Did this thing really happen?
It's gaslighting.
Yeah, it is. And he learned that from his mom, who's, the shame and whatever. But I think he wants to be better, but he doesn't know how. And we tried therapy in the past. I think even in therapy, it's like so much shame that he can't be his true self and really be vulnerable with a counselor.
So why'd you go back? Why'd you go back? Because let's put sexuality and gender aside. You're married to someone who lies to you to your face and has for years. Mm-hmm. And my guess is there infidelity involved that you know of?
No.
Are you positive?
Not specific that no, I'm not. And I will be honest and say that.
Listen, John, you're absolutely right. We're men. Do we think that he is so sexually driven, right, that he buys all these toys and has to pleasure himself and hide things, and he ain't hiding all of that? My gosh, lady, get yourself checked out. Just get yourself checked out. With any kind of infidelity, of course, you're going to need to get yourself checked out. Yeah.
I have occasionally gone and gotten myself tested just out of fear.
So that tells me you're being very almost coy on the call. There's something in your gut that says, whoa. Is there pornography involved?
Oh, tons.
Okay.
And in the beginning, like, our sex life was so crazy, and I just thought it was great that this guy was super into me and found me so attractive that we were having sex 4 and 5 times a day, every day, for years. And then when it started to dwindle off, I thought something was wrong with me, but that's when, like, the porn started getting to be a really big issue, and he was more interested in that than in having sex with me.
Okay.
And so, you know, the toys, and it...
Is it just me? I'm wondering what kind of sex he likes. So, I'm sorry. I just think with her, I mean, you know what I mean? Something tells me doggy style. And I ain't going to go any further than that. We know.
just snowballed. So I'll say that I went back to him because I do love him and I do see the potential in him. I see what his mom broke in him, and
But you can't fix that.
sorry, oh my goodness, I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, no. Of course you are. You love this man, and you're hurting.
Yeah.
But you can't fix what mom broke.
Right.
You can hold his hand and
But I want to be a safe landing place, and I don't know how to do that.
I know, but he hasn't chosen you as that place. And that's one of the hardest things I can say out loud to somebody in your situation. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. He hasn't chosen you.
Yeah, you're right.
And you...
I think he's basing that on the fact that she tried. No, he had a conversation at some point in what happened before and letting him land. Is he saying that? Is John saying that her husband has not chosen her as the safe kind of landing space because, by definition, of all these things that he's hiding? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Spent the last X number of years sacrificing your own intimate connection, sacrificing your own romantic relationship with him, sacrificing your marriage, and then deeper than that,
My value.
Your own value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were once...
And I see that. I feel like I'm withering away. I feel like I'm not the same person that I was.
Hold on. You are withering away. And this is the... Man, I don't want to cause a bunch of drama on this show, but this is where the gender conversation... I mean, not the gender, but the sexuality conversation gets so blown up. It becomes so nuclear that the dishonesty and the pornography and the potential infidelity all gets wrapped up with in this other conversation. It's not.
I think I excuse the dishonesty as I just feel bad for his shame. And I want to believe he hasn't cheated on me. I want to believe all of these things.
But you don't.
When I catch like he bought it away and I find out there's so much embarrassment. We can't have a conversation. We can talk about so many things in our sex life and we have conversation, but about that, he shuts down and he won't talk to me. And he's just like, oh, it's fine.
What I'm thinking I know that she's been understanding, but is she happy? Is she happy with this? And can she be happy with this? And if the answer is yeah, then, fair enough. But if she's not, then the fact that she's not putting up a fight for it, and the fact that more than that, the fact that she's tolerating it, then it gives me less sympathy. You know what I mean? Because if she's tolerating it and she's continuing with this, what's becoming a sham marriage, where even if he was aligned with her initially for whatever reason, 4 or 5 times a day, I understand where she was at the time. You know what I mean? In terms of their sessions, their cuddle sessions. If he's not giving her any of those 4 or 5 times a day, then somebody's getting it. If you know what I mean. And I didn't know that was accidental. Which puts her at incredible risk. And if she's kind of blind to the likely reality, as awful as it is, and say I accept the fact that she's been lied to and all these things, but what happens now from this point forwards, and does she take ownership? The path that she's on, it can't end well. Really can't. So if that's the decision she's going to make, she's going to have to live with it. But that is a high risk, and it wouldn't be me.
I just fell off the wagon. It is what it is. I'm going to get back on the wagon, and I won't do it again.
But in a safe relationship, there's not a wagon to get on and off of. There's a conversation to be had, right? And I'm going to go as far to say, if people are into weird things, and you talk about that with your spouse, right? You talk about that with your partner. You have that conversation. But he hasn't chosen you. And at some point, you said you feel like you're withering away. I'm hearing it on this call. You're like one of those movies where there's a ghost that comes back, and then the time starts running out, and they start getting thinner and thinner. That's what's happening to you. And at least right now, it's not because he might be gay or might not be gay or might be experimenting or might be bisexual. That's not it. It's that you are married to someone who's lying to you. You're married to...
It's both, brother. It's both. Trust me, it's both. Or it should be both.
someone who is more into pornography than he is to you, who is not reciprocating how much of themselves they're putting on the table for the sake of this marriage.
Absolutely. And my closest friends have said that this is not a, equal effort marriage.
Not even close. And let's say in the same way that he saw potential, you saw potential in him, he saw potential in you. Maybe she's going to be the one that helps me because I don't want that, whatever the conversation he's had in his soul for however many years.
Could be anything. She could be a beard. You know what I mean? Where you have a heterosexual relationship, but really all along you're having a non-heterosexual relationship on the side or something like that. You know what I mean? Just for show, just for the sake of society, just for the sake of not drawing attention to the truth, really. You know what I mean? Just due to societal images or societal expectations or whatever it is. She might be very wealthy. It could be could be a million reasons. It's not necessarily love. I mean, that's again going back to 4 or 5 times a day. He must have been quite partial to her, most deaf. So it isn't crystal clear. Anyway, let's go back a little bit and then go from there.
And let's say in the same way that he saw potential, you saw potential in him, he saw potential in you. Maybe she's going to be the one that helps me because I don't want that, whatever the conversation he's had in his soul for however many years. And maybe his mom beat him up so bad emotionally, right? All those things can be true. And what he is carrying is so heavy that at this point he has chosen to not set it down because he doesn't know how.
What he's carrying is so heavy. It could be, or maybe he's just being a bit selfish about it because he's more inclined on the spectrum of sexuality. He's more inclined to be on one side of the spectrum than the other. That's what it seems what it's like to me. Everything else is, nothing else has been put on the table for us to really kind of consider. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's go.
Yeah, fine. He can do that. And you don't have to be a part of that. Both of those things are true. His pain is very real. What he's working through alone, if he was here, I would want to hug him and not let go.
Yeah.
And I would have to be willing to hit for him to say, I don't want to hug you. I don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know that he loves me. I know that he chose to marry me because he loves me. I know that it's not like he's only into men and he's not interested in me. I know that he loves me, that he thinks I'm attractive, but I just think there's such a broken side of him that, yeah, you're right. I'm just not the one that he wants to share it with.
And the choosing reality is how you're going to live out of that truth.
I'm going to just step out of this whole conversation just to have food for thought, and I honestly don't know the answer. Just putting it out there. I'm thinking about the whole Johnny Depp, Amber Heard kind of situation and things like that. There's other situations I know which are similar where there's a heterosexual relationship, it breaks down, and then there's a heterosexual marriage which breaks down at some point. Old school, similar to what was kind of similar, sort of described here. Then the new relationship is with the same sex, and it's kind of like, well, what changed, which is the situation with this lady, or was it always there? And if it was always there, there's 2 camps, isn't it? There's 3 maybe. They are bisexual but in a heterosexual relationship and happy, okay, and content, or they're in a heterosexual relationship but truly bisexual and unhappy, which is led to this situation, or they are 100% are homosexual but in a heterosexual marriage and they've never been happy. Is that 3 or 2 situations? Or is it just, I don't know. But you know what I mean anyway. So I don't want to be with somebody who's in the grey zone. I'm 100% straight. And I know that the whole sexuality thing is more complicated with ladies because it's a bit more spectrum orientated, you know what I mean? It just is, from what I experience of people that I've met, like regulars, you know what I mean? It's not like I hang out at, other place. So yeah, maybe it's a bit grayer for them, but it's not grayer for me. You know what I mean? And I want somebody who's as ungrey as possible. That's my point of view. But what do people think? Would you be happy as a straight person to have somebody who's not 100% straight and marry them with this as a potential? That's what I'm worried about. Or do you think, well, no, it ain't necessarily going to happen? Interesting.
Which is what? Do I just keep being numb like I have?
No, because the other end of that is you die. Spiritually, emotionally, relationally, and then eventually you die.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not being the best mom that I can to my kids. And
How many kids do you have?
I feel like,
You all have kids together?
we don't have kids together, no.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4.
Are they a ringside seat to all this?
Yeah, some of my kids are grown and out of the house now, but I had kids when I was really young.
Okay.
But they saw it, and they're very protective of mom, and they have been saying for a long time that this isn't a healthy situation. But I guess I just wanted to make it happen.
Is there some commitment you made to yourself that what happened in your first relationship was never going to happen again?
Yeah, I promised myself that I would never not be someone's priority and that I would never get divorced again. And so I don't know what to do when the two things don't work together.
Yeah, you made yourself
You know what I mean?
a promise that,
Yeah.
way to go.
I painted myself into a corner.
Yeah, you really did.
I'm not sure that's exactly how it happens. So you have kids young. I think she's got quite a few kids. Is it 3 or 4 kids? I can't remember. That's quite a few. A man shows interest. He reconfirms that interest by just 4 or 5 times a day. You probably go along with it and just hope for the best a little bit. And as a young woman, as she said when she had the kids, and you're going to need some support to raise those kids. So, and then she said she wasn't very good at, well, she ignored red flags, but maybe she just needed a bit of help, and she found it in. I don't know how long they were married for. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was a good stint and it was good overall, or if it was a short stint and it was just probably a bad move. It doesn't sound like she feels it was a bad move. So anyway, let's see what they're going to say.
And that's a hard corner to paint yourself into because you painted you into it, not somebody else, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I want to have all these standards for myself and these boundaries, and I want to be like, my partner is going to respect me and appreciate me and value me and make me their equal, and we're going to be true partners. But then I just allow little behaviors to undermine that. And
Allie, these are not little behaviors.
Yeah.
These are massive fractures in a trusting, loving relationship. Period.
That's true, but it starts small.
It does.
And then, it does.
But these are massive.
Yeah, you're right.
These are massive.
And what starts small? What starts small? What, when he put a little pinky? When he had the toys? When he had the, it sounds like gay porn. You know what I mean? When you suspect that you may well be having kind of, affairs with the same sex, you know what I mean? However many affairs with the high sex drive that he's got with other men, and you have to go and get yourself tested. It's like, none of that's small. Anyway.
And this is in a heteronormative relationship. This is a gay relationship. This is in all relationships. You got to tell the truth. You got to be a person of fidelity. You can't hold these black hole secrets from somebody, because when you say I do, they take on those secrets with you.
Yeah.
They just
do.
To
the point where he had an incident one time and he had to have something removed from his body, and I took the blame for it. I showed up at the hospital and I said it was me, I did it, and took that shame from him because I hold that black hole. But I don't think he does the same for me.
I know he doesn't, because you wouldn't be on this call. Take on those secrets with you.
Yeah.
They just
to the point where he had an incident one time and he had to have something removed from his body, and I took the blame for it. I showed up at the hospital and I said it was me, I did it, and took that shame from him because I hold that black hole.
Yeah, to have something taken from his body. We know what that thing was, and we know where that thing was shoved right the way up. Sorry.
I don't think he does the same for me.
I know he doesn't, because you wouldn't be on this call. And so you made yourself a bunch of promises that relied on somebody else's fidelity. And I'm of the opinion, in faith circles, they talk a lot about infidelity is about who you sleep with. So sleeping with somebody that you're not married to. I think you can cheat on somebody with your work. You can cheat on somebody with your golf course. You can cheat on somebody by withholding. You can with neglect, right? You can cheat on somebody by vacuuming up all of your internal turmoil. And then when somebody says, "Hey, are you okay?" you just blast them with it. Or the analogy I use is you carry bricks around in your own backpack, and the moment somebody says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," you smash them with your bricks, your pain.
Oh, and I've done that. I have definitely done that to him.
No, he's done that to you.
Taking a couple of bricks out.
He's done that to you.
Yeah.
Every time you say, "Hey, what is this?" Bam.
Yeah.
So I think your path forward is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Step number one is you make a decision on what love and respect you're going to accept or not accept. Number two, y'all have had a trial separation. You move back in. You wouldn't be calling me if that move back in was just smooth as silk. It hasn't been, has it? No.
Not at all.
And so I think it's time for a very direct, hard conversation, which is the following. You might want to write him a letter because it doesn't sound like he can hear it. It sounds like he goes to war with you and you bring something up. Or you might want to write a letter and read it to him. But you have to have a State of the Union conversation, which is, I committed to you and I said I do, I'm all in. But part of that commitment, part of that fidelity meant no lies, no deception, no bringing other people into our bed, whether on TV or whether in person. That these big mega secrets that are dragging the entire home down, that I promised I would share with you, I have to at least know what we're fighting together.
And I don't know what he's going to say. I'm not convinced he's going to say it. Yet, fair enough, you got that kind of commitment in marriage, not to keep any secrets, and let him know, listen, put it all on the table. There's no point, so that it's no point in lying. You know, you'd be maybe be diplomatic about how you raise it because you don't want things to be a distraction. But it's just the concrete facts that can't be denied. Put it all on the table, okay? So it's all out there, and just have an upfront conversation about, listen, where do we go and be clear about where her lines are at, so she isn't wishy-washy. You know what I mean? And if it is a red line, because I'm not sure that she's got any, so it may well be a waste of time. You know what I mean? With a sort of like nice but soft. Is it? Yeah, it's good to be nice, but if it means you're too soft, then it's not nice anymore. It's kind of weak. You know what I mean? But if she's happy with where she's at, and I don't think she is because she wouldn't be calling in, then that's that. But anyway, so she writes down this list of things. She's actually got a red line somewhere. I say otherwise it's waste time having that conversation because you've got no red line, which means you're just going to be kind of supporting him, giving him somewhere to land, basically, giving him somewhere just to kind of voice why he's doing it, even though it doesn't matter why he's doing it. The fact that he wants to do it is what you need to deal with, because that's his reality. That's where his motivation's coming from. But anyway, if you've got a red line, then just stick to it and just have it clear in your mind. So when that thing gets brought up, you've already kind of processed the reasons why you've said it, so you're not going to get sent left, or less likely. Anyway, let's go.
And if you don't trust me enough to be a safe place, then you are choosing with that lack of trust to say, you're not my person. And you are opting out of this unity, this one. And I think you started the call with saying, I will love him till the end of time. I'm with him.
Okay. He's talked about that place to land and being that safe person and trusting him. And listen, you don't want to get drawn into the jargon. That's the bit I'm worried about, because if you have to kind of second, third guess and like get your master's degree out and get your books out in order to understand what a conversation is, and things will get lost in the translation, you know what I mean? So yeah, just try to be clear. Don't talk for too long so people get a bit bored, you know what I mean? And then just kind of set it all out, and hopefully he'll be honest with you.
He's just not with you. And I think the ball that I promised I would share with you, I have to at least know what we're fighting together. And if you don't trust me enough to be a safe place, then you are choosing with that lack of trust to say, you're not my person. And you are opting out of this unity, this one. And I think you started the call with saying, I will love him till the end of time. I'm with him. He's just not with you. And I think the ball is in his court as to whether he says, okay, I'm all in. I will tell you the truth. I'll tell you what I struggle with. I'll tell you where my shame lies. And that will be something y'all work through together moving forward. But I said this earlier, you can't fix what his mama did. And you can't co-carry his shame if he won't let you. And you can't love him through the hurt he's experiencing, which I know he is, because he won't let you know what the secrets are. And I know that feels so lonely, Ellie. I'm sorry. He's really lucky to have you in his life. And my hope is that he takes this moment when you say, hey, this is my line. This is my line. But I want you to, when you state your boundaries, I want you to be very clear about this. If he walks away from your boundary, he walks away. You didn't fail your marriage. You didn't crash your marriage. You didn't choose to fill in the blank again. He looked at you and said, yeah, I can't go there. I can only go this far in my trust. I can only go this far in my love. I can only go this far in my commitment, but there's a line there. And you're not it. I can't cross it for you. And then you'll have to live in that reality. Here's my promise, Allie. I'll walk with you every step of the way.
100%. You need to know what you're fighting in order to like resolve it. She already knows it though. She already knows what she's fighting. I said I just gave the list in the last little kind of recap, and wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me. When I say it wouldn't be me, especially if you've ignored all the red flags, I wouldn't be angry about it. But as I say, you got to have your own red lines. As I said before, but if you don't have red lines, and what's she making she's not really making a fuss. There's nothing to make a fuss about. That's the person. You could have separate lives, and he drifted away, and you may well drift back. But as I said, you got to just recalculate that risk. You know what I mean? So just rolling the dice and say somebody that's sexually kind of charged. Man, no, that's the ridiculous high risk. That's just not it's not just risk, it's like the extreme end. And you can't just kind of put the rose tinted glasses and the best world kind of tolerance about letting him land and giving him space in that kind of in the deal that you didn't sign up for. It wouldn't be me anyway, but again, I'm trying to express what I hope that she decides what to do. I'm not convinced that she's going to change anything at all or follow any of the advice from Dr. John. I say it's very good, the bit about just having that upfront conversation with the bits that I added as well, I would probably say. But be interesting to know your thoughts about this kind of thing. What would your approach be? Would you just be out the door the moment anybody, especially if you're a woman, the moment that your man is saying, you know what I mean, he wants to play on both sides of the fence? You know what I'm thinking right now? I'm just thinking that as a man, you just know that it's no holds barred. You know what I mean? And these are things that we already know. If a man's chatting up a lady, the woman will have at least a reasonable amount of discretion. But if it was men wanting to get that on with other men and playing by the same rules, oh my gosh, man, they could just go rampant. And that's where the risk comes from. You know what I mean? Other than other identifiable risks. So you can't be. I don't think she should blind eye this. But anyway, please like, subscribe. That is Steve, and I am out.